So Patrick, do we describe this for everybody, Rob?
What?
You describe it. You describe it.
What?
I do enough talking.
I think any car's dead in iRacing. I think it's gone.
Oh, it's definitely. I agree. It's not going to survive much, but I still think we'll find opportunities to race it, just not as fruitful as before. Some of them just want to make. What's the thing? Like that guy wanted to make like dolls out of Tyler's hair, but then there's just other guys who are just like. He did. He would say weird things to Tyler, man. Like he was a strange guy. And then like other guys would just show up and he's like, "Oh, we never met you? Sure, come race this 24 with us." And then just jump in the car and wreck us out in a lap and be like, "Okay, never see you again."
Yeah, that
like,
was
okay. Well, better luck next year, I guess.
That was the guy from.
Hello and welcome to Slow Motion Broadcasting's first ever real oval coverage here. We're bringing to you tonight the International Online Racing Association's All-Star Race at the Monza Oval. So be ready for that one, guys. My name is Adam Thompson. In the commentary booth with me tonight is the one, the only, the Marine, Randall McGrew. Welcome in, Randall. How you doing tonight, man?
Oh, wow, you're interrupting my snack of crayons. Doing good. Looking forward to an exciting race here tonight at Monza Oval. We were watching a little bit of practice. These guys are absolutely flying around here. It'll be an exciting race.
Yeah, I am extremely excited to see how this goes. Right now, you guys should be able to see the qualifying on the bottom of your screen, but my skills in SDK live timing apparently aren't that great, so we're just going to have to see how these drivers do fare and get along because I can't tell who's qualifying and what, and the splits aren't that great. There are only 2 splits around this track, but speaking of this track, Monza, the true cathedral to speed, unmatched around the world for its sense of history and passion, fueled in part by its long history, and also the fantastic I'm not even going to try that. Fanaticism.
Easy for you to say.
Also, the fanaticism of the Italian fans, the Tifosi, with the steadily decaying remnants of the high-speed baked circuit providing a backdrop through the parkland trees. The atmosphere here is like no other. A mix of speed, melodrama, and more than a hint of melancholy. And let me tell you what, this is going to be just ridiculous, as I believe we might be able to get on board here with Alex just to show how bumpy this track is, Randall.
Yeah. This track in real life is not safe for driving, as we're seeing him take a bit of a detour there and go flying through the air, and he sticks the landing. Unfortunately, that car's not going to be able to continue on. Must be finished with his qualifying. The real life version of this track is too bumpy and dilapidated to actually cater to racing anymore. So it lives on in a virtual form here on iRacing. And you get to see some pretty wild stuff when you come here. Super wide straightaways and very narrow turns with progressive banking make for some really exciting racing. You're going to notice that the high line is typically the faster line because there's more banking, requires a lot less wheel input. They can just really keep it floored. We're on board with Sean Rowe going down the back straightaway, flying down to turn 3. You see him dip to the left there on the straightaway. The car wants to turn left naturally, so kind of let it go and then coax it back to the right as you come up to the corner. You see him running the middle here, kind of straddling the difference in progressive banking as he dips back down to the yellow line to keep it low. Comes back onto that iconic front straightaway, going the wrong direction here at Monza, wiggling back and forth as he goes across the line, and that will complete his qualifying run.
Wait for it, Randall. Wait for it.
For 11th and stuck in the wall there. And I suspect that is not the only time we're going to see somebody smack into that barrier there. The best place to die on this layout is, in fact, there at that entry to turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now we're not on board, but watching Zach Todrift, one of the few drivers still driving right now that hasn't decided to flip their cars into on its roof into the road course section or into the pit lane. See exactly what Zach can do here. Only have a few minutes left. So going to be not even a few minutes. We got 15 seconds left. See what Zach can do to get his car across the line here.
He should have plenty of time to get to the line here, and we'll see how he ends up in that 054 entry. He's also on Twitch right now, Paintbrush54, if you want to go check him out. But come right back here. Keep 2 tabs open, and that will be the end of qualifying.
And we'll get the results for you up here very quickly if we can. Maybe, maybe not. Again, having some issues here with the overlay tonight, but should be getting here sometime quickly. And here we go. In the lead is going to be Michael Korometis from Florida. Chase Schaefer to his right, I believe, because we are actually turning the correct direction on this track, or the wrong direction, if depending on who you talk to. Alex Anderson starting there in 3rd place with Sean Conklin to his right. James Thurston in 5th. Marcus Van der Lee in 6th. Josh Lilly in 7th. Alexander Balderas in 8th. Cooper Nash 9th. Clark Nance 10th. Mason Moriarty in 11th with Braxton Walker in 12th. John Rowe 13th. Daniel Mostetler 14th. Zach Todriff 15th. Corey Lyles in 16th. And rounding out the field for tonight is going to be River Page in 17th position.
Qualifying not super important here. Maybe we'll get you through the first big wreck if you're up front and not have to dodge anybody. But this race, there's going to be a lot of overtaking. It's going to be very much like a super speedway race. You'll see them try to sort themselves out for the corners. And then once they get to the straightaways, expect to see them fanning out 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide, trying to jockey for position and then come back together at the end of the straightaway to get into the corner. And that's where you'll see most of your drama happen as cars are trying to clear each other and get back in line for that corner.
Yeah, I'm reading through some of the storylines here for tonight. James Thurston looks to go 2 for 2 at Monza races this season. James did win their first one at the Monza road course. See what he can do here at the Monza Oval. James, I hate to tell you, man, this is a little bit different than the Monza road, so hopefully he can get some draft help. I think friends are definitely going to be a factor here tonight. And looking through the race analysis, Alex, you never cease to amaze me, my friend. When we're trying to read some of these broadcast notes, tires and pit stops. Tires, no matter what, will add extra time, and he has no idea how much fuel to add to his car, and he doesn't even know if you are going to have to stop or not. I would assume a lot of that has to do with caution laps, which, Randall, let's be honest, there probably will be a few.
That's right. It's a 50-lap race. The amount of fuel they have, they can go 35 to 40 laps depending on how much they're pushing. Any yellow flag should help them get to the end of the race without needing to stop. So likely probably not going to see any pit stops, but if by some miracle or divine intervention we happen to go green the whole way, we could see some green flag stops.
I mean, that could just bring in a whole new bag of worms, trying to get these cars off of turn 4 down into the pit lane, going as fast as they're going to be going tonight. Probably not going to be the easiest. No ABS on these cars, no pit limiter either.
That's absolutely right. The amount of time you have to get down to the inside after you come off turn 4 and start rolling the car up, you got to be on the brake pretty early. Like you said, no ABS. You can't just jam on the brake. And you may want to move that brake bias forward a little bit just so you don't lock up those rears and send yourself spinning, which would really cause a jam up. But I suspect that we won't really see much use of that pit road voluntarily tonight.
I would assume not. Looking here, trying to see if they do have one fast repair as well, so should be good for them. And that is a very interesting camera view. Thank you, iRacing, for that. Should be good for them. Just in case there is an incident, but looks like we're about to go green here, coming out of the final corner, turn 4. To anybody who isn't used to oval racing, there are 4 corners in ovals, believe it or not. Don't ask me why. I don't know how they decide to make it 4 corners because it only appears to be 2. But in the middle of those 2 corners, that is classified as another corner. So turn 1 and 2, technically, in turn 1, and turn 3 and 4, technically turn 2. But with that being said, we are about to go green. We've got Michael Korometis leading us off here. Is he going to go? He's going to wait for the green flag. Very smart. And there we go. Green flag is dropped. Chase Schaefer there to his outside. They are 2 by 2 by 2 for now. Doesn't look like anybody's going to be going for any moves right now. I think everybody's just trying to feel it out here. I think they all know what's at stake here. And it is just, man, they're already up to speed and they are moving, Randall.
You think this is up to speed? Give it another lap. Watch them come through this corner, and they're going to be absolutely flying. Maybe even in 3 or 4, they'll have their speed built all the way up. We're seeing right now Schaefer leading the way down the back straight. They're actually pretty well behaved right now. They do have a long way to go, so some people playing the patience game and not making any moves early. But I don't think this is going to last very long. I think we're going to get 5, maybe 6 laps into this, and we'll start seeing them really start jockeying for position. As we see a couple cars into the wall there on the exit of 4, still dealing with those cold tires.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge problem for them. Best place to die from Alex Anderson is going to be turn 1, I think, is where everybody is. Speaking of turn 1, who is that going around? That's Michael Korometis. That was the leader of the race, spinning all over the place, still wrecking. There's our first yellow, Randall.
Yeah, and he manages to collect Todriff with him in that 054 entry. Didn't really have anywhere to go, and it looks like he maybe hung up there on the banking, and it might have to take a tow, which would really ruin his chances. He could probably drive that car. It didn't look like it had too much damage. At least drive it back to the pits and get repaired. But if he has to tow, he might lose a lap out of this. We saw there's a little bit of side-to-side contact as they're entering the banking there on turn 1. That's not normally the place you see people die, or the place that we're expecting to see people die, but a little bit of contact there. Just couldn't get the car turned quickly enough.
Oh.
Got a little tight and pushed up, and gets into that outside rail, bounces back down, and hits that 54 car. We just had nowhere to go.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there for Mr. Todriff, who was doing okay, really not trying to get involved in anything, and just unfortunate timing, I think. And yeah, there's 2 cars already in the pits, but again, with the fast repair, the tow is going to be the big thing here. If they can get it back around, which I don't think either one of them can. They're both sitting in the pits right now. On your left side, you can see that. Going to be probably a lap down, maybe wave arounds and lucky dogs. I don't exactly know how Alex runs this league, but I would assume there's probably some type of wave around or lucky dog format. So if there is another yellow, and if I was a betting man, I'd say there would be, those 2 have a chance to get back up onto the lead lap.
The good news is this track's pretty big, and at pacing speed, it takes these cars a long time. So if you had to come into the pit lanes to take a repair, you should have plenty of chance to get it done, and at least get it partially done and get back out there in front of the leaders, power around the circuit once, come back in and take any more repairs and stay on the lead lap. But it looked like both those cars had to tow. So right now I'm seeing that they're not still towing anymore. They should be able to get out of here in time.
Yeah,
they're starting to see the 25 maybe starting to move.
They're going to have to
neither
start.
of them are moving yet.
Yep, they're going to have to start moving pretty quick, but it looks like everybody else is coming into the pit lane. This might actually save them. Nope, just kidding. Here comes the pace truck, and doesn't look like they're going to be able to get out, so they will both go 1 lap down, and it looks like a bunch of leaders came in to the pits, decided to take advantage, maybe some fresh tires. I would assume tires are probably going to be pretty important around here. Pretty high speed, very bumpy, concrete surface. Probably can generate a lot of heat in these tires going through some of these banked corners.
Well, I think we might see something like we saw in your own league, XSLR, where some of these guys are coming in and just topping off the fuel tank in case this goes green for a long time. That might be the extra couple laps of fuel that they need to get to the end when everybody else has to save fuel or come in to take a splash and go. So they're not really losing much in the way of track position by pitting here, just losing a couple spots to the cars that they pit in front of. But they'll be right back up to the back of this group as they go green and not that far away from the leader.
Yep, and you can see them coming up right now. They're going to be there by the time the green flag drops. I think this is going green this lap. So as long as the pace laps are around here, really, it doesn't seem too long. We made it 4 laps, though, Randall. We went 4 laps without the first yellow, and I was very thoroughly expecting lap 1, turn 1 to be the issue. But really, 4 laps, turn 1 isn't terrible.
We turned 2 laps. There was 2 laps
That's
under
true.
yellow and 2 laps under green.
That's true.
So
I'm sorry.
It was on the second lap. They did make it a little bit further than probably most of us expected. They were looking pretty tame, and the incident didn't look that bad. I think it was just somebody was a little too brave going into the corner on cold tires, got a little tight, pushed up into the car outside of him.
If we can,
I think they'll clean it up here for this next restart.
If we can get an onboard, once all of these cars start to sort out and hopefully start going single file, we can get an onboard of some of these drivers going around, especially following with how bumpy this track is. It is just unbelievably hard to keep the car underneath you, and especially going too wide. It's amazing they were able to do it for that long, but it's looking like we are green again. Chase Schaefer's going to lead us off with Sean Conklin there in P2 on the right side, and they're going to go 2 by 2 by 2 all the way through again, and there's another wreck already. Is that going to be a yellow, or is he going to hold on to it?
It looks like they managed to hold on to it, got the cars going again, and I think we're going to stay green here. As long as you keep rolling, it should be good, except it looks like that 24, was that the 24 page, maybe had a little bit of issues there on the banking. Still not seeing the yellow flag out, but right now the 24 car has come to a stop with the 25 trying to get back around.
Oh, no, look out.
Look, here comes another car. I believe that was the 25. The 87 is rolling again. The 24 is struggling. I don't know, maybe some wheel damage and issues with the banking, but here come the leaders. The 24 car seems to be rolling again. We have 4 or 5 cars here off the back have lost the draft, and we have the rest of the race here in one pack at the front. We're starting to see them really sort themselves out, moving up to that high line.
This is just crazy, the speed that these cars are carrying through this corner. You can see why they don't run this track anymore. You can see how dangerous this track could be, and even if they repaved it, Randall, I don't think there's any way that anybody would be allowed to run this track in an officially sanctioned event.
Oh, there's no way. Yeah, the safety concerns in modern racing would never allow for anything like this, but luckily those safety concerns are thrown out the window here in the virtual world, and we get to enjoy something we would never see in real life.
Yeah, and it looks like Cooper Nash there is thinking about it, but decides to not do anything with it. They're going to stay single file here, and you can see Sean Conklin just pushing Chase Schaefer down the straightaway here. Let's go ahead and go on board here so you can just get a sense of the speed of some of these cars and how they're carrying it. You can see the dashboard there on the bottom right, 205 miles an hour coming out of turn 2. That is definitely going to come up a little bit, 207 even. So yeah, this is extremely intense. And with these next-gen cars, the draft is weird in these. If you can get close to somebody's back bumper, there's more of like a bubble in these next-gens. And if you can get within inside that bubble and stay on their bumper, that is where you can really start gaining some speed. But you need help from the car behind to get you pushed up to break that bubble.
That bubble also helps the car in front of you to keep going so that you can travel faster together than you do on your own. Something you don't really see in road racing as much. Normally, the person in front is kind of a sitting duck, but in these cars, the person in front is getting a nice push from the car behind.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And look at this. Oh, we got a move here. Nope. Number 67 of Alex Anderson decided to try to maybe make a move, and they're starting to try to fan out. I think some of these drivers are just starting to feel out if they're going to have help, if somebody's going to help them, if they decide to go offline and try to make a move. But right now, you can just see them kind of weaving back and forth, sticking their nose out there.
Oh, we have a car off there. There was a car off, the white car with yellow numbers. I couldn't see who that was. Is it Nance, I believe? The number 9 car of Nance. They're struggling on the exit of turn 4. Came down through the grass into the wall. No yellow flag yet. He may pull that into the pits to take repairs. So you're talking about the leaders spanning out here going down the straightaways. I think they're all very privy to the situation. They're catching up to that 24 and that 54 car very quickly. So I think some of them are popping out of line just to get a glance of where those cars are ahead so they know how quickly they're catching, because they're suddenly going to have a much slower car to deal with coming up, possibly in a corner.
That's true. And another thing that you have to think about with these vehicles is water temps and oil temps. Running full bore right behind somebody, there is no air going through that radiator as well. So you may see them trying to stick their nose out there just to get some of those temps cooled down just a little bit.
And over the course of 8 laps, it shouldn't be too much, or 6 laps that we've turned under this green flag run, shouldn't be too much. But if you start doing 15, 20 laps behind another car, you're absolutely right. You can cook that engine. You need to get it out there and let it breathe a little bit.
Oh, looks like Conklin may be looking for a move down the inside. No, he doesn't, but that is Alex Anderson forced to the high side right now. Looks like he's going to stay in line. Yep, everything's seemingly okay at the moment, but we do have a car going low.
And as soon as he got low, he did not have as much grip as he thought he would compared to the high side, and he got very, very loose. That was Cooper Nash in the 55 car. He did an amazing job of keeping that car going in the right direction. He's going to lose the draft here, so he's hoping for a yellow, but that was a great save out of Nash.
It absolutely was. Going back here to Alex Anderson right now. There's going to be another 3 wide. Someone's going low. Alex is in a very precarious position right now. Everybody seems to hold on to it. Everybody's doing okay, but man, that car is still down below that yellow line. Still down there, and there goes Alex.
Oh, there goes. Got into the grass there on the exit of 2, and it just noses straight into the inside wall, and he's just going to ride it there. Hopefully get it back underway and onto the course and into the pit lane to get a repair, but he's going to be off the draft now. The lead draft is dwindling. We're down to 6 cars fighting for the lead right now.
Yeah, we are only 1/5 of the way through this race, Randall, so this is going to get very interesting depending on how many cars, and there is the yellow. Yellow did come out.
Looks like Alex may have had some issues there in turn 3 with the damage on that car. It caused him to spin, and the marshals have thrown the yellow flag. So now we're going to see the pace truck come back in front of these leaders and pick them up, and some of these guys are going to be able to get repairs and get back into the fight.
Oh my goodness, I don't know who Alex just came down in front of, but unbelievably lucky escape there for whoever Alex decided to spin off of. And let's see what exactly happened here. Alex keeping it in the grass, trying to keep the yellow from coming out here. Going into turn 3 now. He's still in the grass even. He gets back onto the road. I wonder exactly why that came out.
I think he's really struggling with the steering here, and as he's on the grass and off the grass, it's just the car does not look like it wants to turn at all in either direction. After that heavy front hit, it's no surprise. Probably broke the tie rod on the inside of the car and can't really get it to go in any direction. I think he's just moving so slowly that it brought the caution out, which is strange because we saw the 24 car stop for quite a long time on the racing line and nothing happened.
Yeah.
Maybe this was an administrative privilege being exercised.
Maybe it was. You never know. But Randall, I'm not here to make any assumptions about our co-host and our commentator. So I'm just going to move on from that comment. And it looks like we're going to see everybody decide to peel into the pit lane here. Probably a good idea. Like you said, just getting that tank full of fuel. Every time you come under caution, it's going to save you so much time. And then that's just less amount of fuel you have to put in at the end, technically.
And we'll see. They may take tires here too. A tire call could be a right one here. Maybe even just right side tires to get those, as we see 99 go up on the jacks. He's going to take at least right side tires. We saw the 54 of Todriff take the lucky dog wave around. It looks like everybody's taking all 4 tires, so we're going to be dealing with the cold tires again. But I think this is the right move, and that's why everybody did it. They're going to take those tires. They have to deal with the cold tires, but by the end of the race, they should be feeling really good.
So we do have a bit of insider information here, except it's not insider because Alex Anderson has just talked to us in the YouTube chat, Randall, and he said there were too many single car spins, only 5 cars in the main pack. So, sounds like there may have been some administrative yellows thrown right there.
I wonder if IORA will continue to run with stage racing for the rest of the season, or if it's just for this all-star race.
Well, whatever it is, it makes it more interesting for us here up in the booth to get the cars packed up back together. Let's go ahead and get through the run through the field right now while we can, while we're under yellow. We got Chase Schaefer there in first position with Mason Moriarty in second, Sean Conklin third, Alexander Balderas in fourth, Marcus Vanderlee in fifth, James Thurston sixth, Corey Lyle seventh, Josh Lilly in eighth, Cooper Nash in ninth, Braxton Walker rounds out your top 10. Alex Anderson there in 11th position, stayed on the lead lap. River Page there in 12th with Daniel Mosteller in 13th, Sean Rowe in 14th. Zach Todrift has just come back into the pits. Michael Cormetis and Clark Nance both 1 lap down at the moment. See exactly, looks like they're actually still in the pits from what it's showing. So,
I think they've retired from the race. Todriff will be back on the lead lap now. He's just now getting to pit. He took the lucky dog wave around. So he's coming into the pits for his service now. He'll be at the tail end of this line, but back on the lead lap. So back in contention for this win at the All-Star race. We've seen Schaefer lead the whole way, but right now, Mason Moriarty, according to my notes, is dubbed the Super Speedway King, is up 8 spots. Corey Lyle is up 9 spots. And poor Alex Anderson is down 8.
Randall, how do you become a super speedway king? What is the secret to be fast on super speedways?
Well, it takes a lot of nerve, first of all. You have to be completely confident in your abilities of going at a very high speed and making very, very small adjustments on the wheel. But it's like playing high-speed chess. You're effectively driving in a 200-mile-an-hour parking lot. You're that close to the other cars. And you got to know when to time your moves, what line is going to develop, and when to stick your nose out there and know when you're going to have help. And some drivers are just really good at it. And
Mason,
one
I'm
might even
so
say
sorry.
that Mason is possibly magical. The lion, the witch, and the audacity of the son of a gun to go up 8 spots here from the magical land of Narnia. Yeah, he really seems to be living up to his title.
Mason, I'm going to have to not go to your car anymore, and it's nothing because of you. I just can't go to your car and see your profile picture in your hometown and not giggle just a little bit. So I apologize to everybody on the stream if you guys heard me laughing there. But yeah, we're about to go green here again. The number 87 of Mostetler is getting back up to the back of the field. And yeah, we're about to go 2 wide again. And what I've noticed, I've run some radicals around here, Randall, and you can get below the yellow line in the radicals, but I think these cars just handle so much differently. This is definitely a 2, maybe 3-line track at the end of the race if these drivers can hold on to it.
3 lines would be very generous. 2 lines is dangerous enough. You really have to lift and wrangle the car more on that bottom line. You really want to be on the top side. So it's no surprise that we're seeing that the leader has taken the top line. Definitely the preferred line. And when we see that first turn pileup happen, it's probably going to be somebody baited into that barrier, following too closely behind somebody else.
Well, here we go. Pace car is in. We just crossed the start-finish line, but we are not green yet because that is not the start-finish line for the oval. That's the start-finish line for the road course, and we are going green. Looks like Schaefer gets a great start. Moriarty there on the bottom line. Going to have to find a way to file in. He actually gets below the yellow line. Ooh. Everybody holds on to it through, still 2 wide through turn 2 now, coming out onto the backstretch. Everybody doing a great job. I think people are just trying to find a way to file in right now. Moriarty there in second with Schaefer in first. Alexander Balderas finds a way to come out of there in third. It looks like Moriarty may be going for a move for first.
We could see our first fight for the lead here as he gets a good run going into turn 3, but he's going to have to come in on that low line. We're going to see that top line really rally here as they enter the turn 4. And looks like Schaefer's having a little trouble keeping it up there and got into the wall just a little bit. He's going to be able to cover off that line, and he's going to have a huge run. We're going to see that 6 and 54 try to work together on the inside. First and second both move down to cover it off, and then back up to the high line for turn 1.
This is some unbelievable racing right now between these drivers, cutting it all over the place as we see a driver in the wall, but he keeps it up there. I'm trying to figure out who that was. There's somebody spinning it right now, and it looks like that is Braxton Walker sideways, holding on to it. 2 cars into the wall, and I have been told by Alex Anderson that these are iRacing yellows are turned off. They throw manual yellows, and that was definitely a manual yellow moment.
Yeah, that Exalta car was heavy into the barrier there. It was collected in that incident. We're looking now at the 056 of Marcus Vanderlee, who's having some issues getting that car slowed down and back onto the pavement. Maybe it looks like he's going to high side it there on the ridge and be stuck and have to take the toe. That's really going to ruin his race. May go a lap down. Still lots of racing to go, so he has a chance to get back on the lead lap with the next yellow and catch back up, as we saw there out of the 054 of Todriff. So not completely out of this yet, but he's definitely behind the 8 ball now.
Well, with Marcus being from Tucson, Arizona, Marcus, you should know we've got some desert landscapes out here, and man, you should really know how to do some rock climbing. So I'm a bit upset with you that you high-centered your car there, but I'll let it go this time. I know you're not in a 4x4 truck. You are in something that could be considered the polar opposite of that, but come on, Marcus. You can do better.
not giving the Arizona native any benefit of the doubt there with that call. Yeah, I do miss the desert. It's fun to take some buggies out there on the dunes.
Oh, it absolutely is. I also do miss Arizona as well, but it sounds like we got a mid-race interview from the one, the only himself, Alex Anderson. Kind of talk us through this race. We've gone about 17 laps, 10 of those being under yellow so far.
All right, so I need to give y'all a little bit more of insider information. First, I'll tell you guys pretty much exactly what happened for that wreck because I was right behind it. So it looked like what happened there was Todriff and Braxton, they went side by side into turn 1, and I guess they just both weren't prepared for it because Todd got into the wall and then he came down into Braxton, and then Braxton spun to the inside and just got turned up the track into Daniel. Just nobody's fault really, just an unfortunate accident for both drivers. And this race in general, I mean, when you talk about the Monza Oval and you talk about like big heavy NASCAR stock cars going there, I mean, you're gonna expect a race that's caution filled like this one. So I'm honestly not too shocked with how it's been going so far. I'm just hoping that since I had to use my fast spur after losing talent out of turn 2, I'm just hoping that I can save this car and just hoping we can log some laps here.
Yeah, losing talent, I think you've got a little bit more of it than I do. I probably would have done what you did about 7 laps earlier than you did.
Yeah,
but
so something we didn't realize about the tires, because I mean we tested this quite a bit and it never really got bad, but when you like 10 or so laps into a run, when you're just sitting there like running the top, just single file on a train, it's gonna start to get a little loose after 10 or so laps. So that was kind of affecting all of us, and it just happened to drag me around first.
Well, Alex, it looks like we're about to go green here in about 2 corners time. So, Randall, you got anything for him, or are we going to let him go try to not wreck his car again?
Bring me back the trophy or the steering wheel, Alex.
Yeah, that's my only option here. We're racing for $50. That's what our All-Star race is worth right now. It's worth 50 big ones. So I know these people they're gonna be racing hard for it. So.
Hey, before we let you go, Alex, bottom line, we saw Mason Moriarty go for a pass on Chase Schaefer down on that bottom line. Do you think if drivers get a little bit of help down there that you could get that bottom line formed to make a pass, or is it the top line where it's at?
Definitely. I mean, the top line is always going to be fastest at this track just because, for whatever reason, when they built this track in like the 40s, they decided on progressive banking, so it's always banked a little bit more up towards the top. So the top line is always going to be where you're going to want to be if you're in a pack, but definitely you get some cars formed up on the bottom. You can start to make some ground up, especially down the straights. But people, I feel like, are just too scared right now to make those moves, which rightfully so. Nobody wants to really kill their cars. So I'm not blaming anybody for not really wanting to make moves, but it definitely can get frustrating for some of us.
Alex, we will be 30 to go when the green flag drops again. Give me your preemptive winner of this race. Who do you think is going to take it?
To be honest, sorry, my friends are playing soundboards in the iRacing chat, and it's hard not to laugh. It's hard to play through it, but I'm gonna pick my good buddy Alexander Balderas running the number 95 Ford Mustang. You know, he won the Open earlier, and he showed a lot of overall pace leading this field. He looked like he knew what he was doing behind the wheel of this car. So I think if he can just get lucky with where he's at on the last lap, I think he can pull this one out. But pretty much, it's the Monza Oval. Literally anybody in this field could win.
Who were the 4 drivers that advanced from the Open earlier this afternoon?
So the 4 drivers, it was Throttle, or I call him Throttle, but Alexander Balderas. He advanced. Clark Nance advanced. Braxton Whitaker won the fan vote, and then the last driver was Marcus Vanderlee.
All right. Well, thank you, Alex. We're going to let you go, man. We're going green this lap. Have a good time.
Thank you.
I'll have to get with Alex later to let him know that he's running my number. So if we ever find ourselves in the same race, that it's mine. I'm going to pull the age card on him. I think I've been running that number since before he was born. Well, hopefully he represents it well.
I run the number 244, so I will let you and Alex decide to duke it out for who thinks they represent the number 67 better. At this moment, from what I've seen for the past week, neither one of you are deserving of that number, Randall.
That's a cheap shot. That's a cheap shot at him.
Anyways, here we go. Pace Truck has peeled into the iRacing Monza pit lane, and we're about to go green here, see what exactly both of these drivers up the front can do. You can see they're already checking just a little bit. Number 95 gets a great start, Mr. Schaefer, but Schaefer's coming back around the outside on Balderas. Now let's see if Balderas tries to hold it down to the low line. If he can get a little bit of help, Alex said that you can make a move down there, and it looks like Alexander is just barely ahead right now, coming out of turn 2. Now he's going to get a little bit of help even, but is it going to be enough? It looks like there's only 2 cars there on the bottom line. That top line's starting to form up again.
Yeah, this first lap is definitely the best time to make a move on the inside, as both lanes will be much slower, but it looks like that outside line already developed enough to look at that gap now that's formed between Schaefer and Balderas. So Balderas kind of left Holden there on the bottom and hasn't had a chance to get back up to that top line. Now he's going to try to slide in. I think he may have gotten away with one there on the start too. It looked like he was ahead of Schaefer at the line. So he's lucky he didn't get the black flag. I want to try to check my scoring to see if there is one out there.
I don't see one, actually. It doesn't look like anybody has been penalized. So you wonder, technically lane choice, you cannot do in iRacing. So you wonder if the league admins are clearing black flags, allowing the leader to take lane choice. You've got to clear the black flag. So you wonder if that may have been what happened.
Oh, that could possibly be it too. But he did have his nose ahead, so it's technically a jump start. But he was, you can tell that he was backing out of it, trying to give Schaefer the lead. And by the time they got to turn 1, Schaefer was in the lead, so it didn't really give him any benefit. As we see, Alex Anderson is going to take out the 54 and himself and is going to wedge that car into the pit entry. I hope all the marshals got out of the way in time, and he is now on his roof. The safety crew is going to have to go extricate him from that car.
That was the most violent yellow flag I think we've seen. As the caution flag does come out, we will definitely get you guys a replay of that incident. Unbelievable.
Alex turning that car into a bit of a skee ball there, trying to go for the 50 ring, and didn't quite make it. I think he just got a little loose here, coming off turn 4, and to keep our eyes on that number 67 there in second place. Gets up into the wall there, and then it keeps pushing out and gets the concrete barrier. And you see the car bounce, and it gets a little tap from behind, shoots to the left there, and collects the number 54, who's just an innocent bystander.
Well,
and he gets hung up hard in the wall. And Alex Anderson ends up in that slot.
Alex, it appears to be, we'll go ahead and replay that again, because it appears as if Alex was already running a bit of damage there with the right front. Go ahead and go back and look at this one more time here if we can. So Alex gets up into the wall, and you can see the right front. You can see where he's going to catch this concrete wall here, and the right front tire is cambered out, and there's just nothing he can do at that point.
He's bouncing if he tries to turn the wheels, it's going to make things worse. The 54 there of Sean Conklin, completely innocent bystander, probably didn't even know what happened.
Well, that was very unfortunate, but it sounds like we may have another commentator for the rest of this race, and I would be totally okay with Alex commentating his own league if you're okay with that, Randall.
Oh, I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, I'd have to switch microphones real fast, but here, give me 1 second. I should be on my other microphone now, but what happened to me there, you see, I'm not a very good driver. I'll be the first to admit that. So what exactly happened? You see, what happened is when you exit turn 4 at this track, it makes a very sharp curve towards the front straightaway. It's almost like they didn't provide enough room for the oval to come back out onto the track. But you see what happened was, I was too wide with Conk, and we were going through that corner, and I was trying to just keep it. I mean, it's okay if you hit the guardrail coming out of 4, but when you hit that green wall, that's what messes you up. And I ended up hitting that wall because I wasn't prepared for the sharp curve. I hit that green wall. You guys probably saw it on stream. The right front completely broke on me, and I ended up from there. I couldn't do anything. It was just locked to the left. I ended up killing the pit wall. No, Conklin's still at a faster pair, so he'll be all right. But I have about 41 minutes of damage, so I think it's safe to say I'm out of this.
I think.
Yeah, I think you may just want to hang it up, and I'll take that steering wheel from you, young man.
Yeah, like you said, Randall. At the Monza Oval, you either walk out of the race with the trophy or the steering wheel. I walked out with the steering wheel.
Well, it's been a rough week for the 67 car across multiple leagues.
Yeah, it's not been too great.
So we had Randall in here just a little bit earlier, Alex. Just a wee bit perplexed by the fact that you guys both run the 67 car, and I decided to say, well, it doesn't look like the 67 car has been doing well all week at this point.
Yeah. The only thing I can hope for now is that Travis Pastrana runs good with it in the 500. That's about it.
All right,
so
Alex.
I'm gonna get my overlay set up, and I might as well just hang out in here and commentate my own league.
Yeah, you might as well. I'll go ahead and cover it until you get in here, and it would be great if I could run some cameras just a little bit easier because this race has been, so far, no holds barred. Still, Chase Schaefer sitting up there at the front. Josh Lilly up 6 positions. That guy's kind of come out of nowhere. He is a weirdo, it looks like, from what it says there on his SDK overlay. But anyways, iRacing Pace Truck into the pit lane for the 4th time tonight. We're about to go green again. It looks like Chase Schaefer has elected the left lane this time.
Sean Conklin having to get heavy into the brakes there as he's coming up on the back of the pack as they take the green flag with a lot of speed. He manages to get it woed down enough and doesn't run into the back of anybody. It doesn't take advantage of that speed either. Right now, Chase Schaefer easily covers off the lead there. We've seen most of the drivers that are in P2 have been able to stay with him pretty well in the start. This time, not so much. He caught that P2 car sleeping a little bit.
Yeah,
He's starting to wiggle a little bit down here on the straight.
Yeah, you can see him from that view, especially. Oh, looks like we might get our first 3 wide. Nope, everybody decides to take it 2 wide. We got a car below the line, though. This could get very sketchy. The number 48 gets it back up onto the track. That is Josh Lilly. Goes from 2nd all the way back to, at this point, 7th, and he's still falling back as somebody's screaming across the left side of the track there. That was, who was that?
Todriff, who was a lap down earlier in this race. Now fighting for the top 5, was easily the top 5 when that incident happened. You see, comes across that huge bump coming in through turn 1 and nearly loses it, keeps it under control. He's now below the yellow line. Going to lose a lot of track position from that, but a good save. That bump there on the inside of turn 1 is massive.
Well,
I should be set up.
All right, Alex, I'll let you take it. Let me say this one more thing here. That shouldn't be a problem there. As long as these back 4 drivers can keep that draft, that's going to be the big thing here. You lose that draft, and it's basically game over. If these top group can start to form up and run that top line, I think they're going to be gone.
Yeah, and first thing I want to say is now you guys will have a little bit of insider information onto when yellows are going to be called and for what reason, as now I'm going to be pretty much commentating and off-track adminning my own league after destroying my race car. So what you're seeing right now is, as I was racing in it just a couple of minutes ago, is not unusual for a track of this caliber and what these drivers are having to manage out there. This track's so old, it's extremely bumpy. It's extremely bumpy. It's very hard to keep a car under control around here, and especially as tires start to wear out pretty quickly, it gets pretty tough around this pretty long racetrack. I think it's just slightly shorter than Talladega, about 2.64 miles. So very long track here, the Monza Oval, and very dangerous, and it makes sense that a lot of drivers are just maintaining a single file and just trying to log some laps.
And as you were mentioning earlier, the car gets get loose as the tires get a little bit of wear in them, and we're seeing it now out of the leaders as they're coming off turn 2 and turn 4. That tail end is really hanging out as they're trying to get the car going straight. They come down off of that banking, and it just wants to hang out on them. Probably worse in turn 4 than turn 2. We're on board now with Valderas hanging in line there behind Schaefer in P2, back where he was at earlier in the race, and it looks like he's just playing the waiting game.
Yeah, and one thing I can also say about my good buddy Throttle right here, we're on board with as he heads out of turn number 4. I'm gonna give you all another reason to root for him to win this race. It looks like Chase going a little bit low down the straight. Wonder if Throttle maybe has some help behind him, but oh, it looks like they've thrown another yellow. I think there was another wreck out of turn 4. But I'm giving y'all another reason to root for my friend Throttle here. That old Balderas thing, that's something that commentators usually say when he usually wrecks the field, and so far he hasn't wrecked the field, I don't think. So I'm gonna say that we should root for this man just because of that. He hasn't wrecked anybody at this race, and for that 95 car, that's a success. But that looked like it was in turns 3 and 4. Braxton got extremely loose, and it looks like brought it up, tagged Conklin. He went around. Braxton gets up into the arm cone. I'm not sure what happened to Conklin. I don't know if he'll be okay or not. Braxton is able to drive away without much issue, but this is where Conklin was. Just not much he can do there. It looks like he's a pretty decent amount of left side damage. It looks like he slides to a stop there, but overall unfortunate for the 54 machine. Just nothing he could do there.
Now, Conklin, if it wasn't for bad luck today, he wouldn't be having any luck at all. First, taken out by our fellow commentator here.
Driving.
And now the innocent victim a second time, as that car was careening across the grass out of control completely. I suspect that he probably came in a little bit low on entry and was fighting loose for a while all the way through turn 3, and it finally just broke on him, and he had to dip down into that grass as they entered turn 4 and just slid across. And it was pretty much Mr. Toad's wild ride from there.
And I feel like the story of this race is just one of drivers. It's just a repeating cycle of drivers just not showing enough give and take. That was something we stressed a lot for this race. We wanted to see a lot of give and take, and we're seeing that up in the front, but I feel like when drivers that know they are fast enough to maintain their spots up in the front pack, I think they once they get so far back there in the back of the field, and they're like, oh, I want to make some moves, I want to get back up there. And I think that's where most of the wrecks happen, is when the drivers that know they're fast enough to lead this race get stuck in the back of the field due to maybe pit stops or a wreck or whatever it may be, and then all of a sudden they want to get back to the front and they end up causing a wreck doing so. So it's nothing against them, it's just everybody in here wants a shot at this $50 prize pool. So I'm hoping that we can get a nice green flag run here, and hopefully we can have a really good finish to this race, because I know with the drivers we have in here, if they just use maybe half of their brain cells, I think we can have a pretty good finish.
Well, Alex, judging by how this race has been going at the moment, I think I could have probably hopped in there and tried to run for this $50 prize pool. It looks like it's basically anybody's game right now, as Balderas is out in the lead. It looks like Schaefer came into the pits there.
Yeah, he did. And
we're finally seeing a bit of a diversity of strategy here. We saw a few of the leaders come in and a few of them stay out. Schaefer came into the pits, is going to get fresh tires. Balderas is going to stay out there on old tires, maybe hoping that another caution comes out within another 5 laps, try to gain some position here. Or thinking maybe even with old tires, being up front is the best call. Probably not a bad call. We'll see if Schaefer can handle this traffic way better than some of the other drivers that have had to try to work their way back up.
Randall,
definitely a crapshoot be back there.
If you haven't checked the YouTube chat recently, you probably should. This has been a great YouTube chat so far. We had Chuckley saying, "Welcome Alex to our support group for murderers."
Absolutely.
He then went on to say he can join Edgar as a victim support group.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So what is this like? So Chuckley, I have a question. I just want, is this like Alcoholics Anonymous for murderers? Because I think that's probably a good fit where I'm at right now.
I think they're forming a support group for the victims of the 67 at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah, it just wasn't the best race for me. I definitely know I could have drove better, but overall, I think personally, I think it's more fun to be watching these guys go around here anyway, especially when they're people I talk to literally every single day. So I think it's pretty fun to be shedding some light on our league. Hopefully we can maybe get some new drivers in here, maybe just get some more people to sign up, and hopefully next week when we head to, I want to say, the Twin Ring Motegi Oval, we can have a nice clean race and move on from this. Actually, no, next week we go to Okayama, so hopefully we can have a nice clean race and just start to finish out the season, as we are within 10 races left in the season.
Whoa, as we all know, when when tens of dollars are on the line, the elbows will start to come out.
Well,
was-
I tell you what. I want to give a shout out to my friend David Joyner, the owner of the Quantum Threat Esports team. He was willing to put some money down for a sponsor for this series, and because of that, the winner of the actual championship is going to end up winning $300. So I want to give a big shout out to him for putting that forth, and all of his sponsors that he brought with him: Glitch Energy, Esports Furniture, all of them. The logos that you've been seeing on and off in the top right corner. So big shout out to him for putting down that money, and it's going to make this championship a whole heck of a lot more competitive as the weeks roll on.
And Chuckley's saying in the chat that he heard that alcohol helps, and that's right. Some people call it a support group. I call it a 12-pack.
I don't think I'm old enough for that. I won't lie to you. I don't know. I mean, if I go to Germany, I probably could order like a Busch Light from a bar, but we aren't in Germany, so I don't think I can do that. And even if I could, I don't think I would. So out of turn 4, we're going to be going back green this time by, hopefully. The yellow's probably going to come back out, but hopefully we can get a decent amount of laps in before the inevitable happens again. We've got a really stacked field for the remaining 20 laps of this race. Hopefully they go well, as the iRacing safety truck going to dive back into the safety of the pit lane. Somebody just killed a foam block. Here comes Sean Rowe to join up into the field real quick. It's a long wait till the green flag down the front straightaway now. As here's Sean Rowe just lining up. Green flag is out. We're back underway from the Monza Oval. Throttle with a pretty good start up top. River's going to try and match him down turn number 1. Got to make sure nobody hits the gap there. Everybody gets through it nice and clean. Side by side, 2x2 through turn number 1. Throttle's going to have a momentum off the top side. He's got a push from Mason Moriarty, but so far it's River Page with his nose out front. He's got Cooper Nash behind him, not really giving him the push he wants. 2x2 still at a turn number 2, and down the back straightaway, it looks like Throttle's going to get clear of everybody else. Mason Moriarty pushing him. Chase Schaffer up there as well. And Adam, I know you're struggling with the Beetlejuice profile picture. Trust me, when I saw that looking on the stream, none of us in the voice chat could take it seriously, so I understand why you're struggling with that. But so far, everybody gets single file back on the top again, and in fact, logging laps.
We see Mason Moriarty back up to P2. The Speedway King is sitting in a good position now. He's going to lay that bumper there on Beldaris. We're going to get a really good look at the rear end of one of these vehicles.
Yeah!
And to see how they're really constructed, as he's pushing him all the way into the entry of turn 1. And that's the name of the game. You go faster by pushing each other. That keeps the cars from behind from passing you. And he'll be sitting pretty by the end of the race if he can keep it here.
And I'll tell you guys why we have dubbed Mason Moriarty the Super Speedway King, because this man, arguably one of the best super speedway racers you will find on the iRacing service. He knows exactly what moves to make, where, and when. He can throw some insane blocks that you would not see coming, so I would say, honestly, if he's up here at the end, you're going to want to look out for that number 6 car to win this race. Very strong driver, knows exactly what he's doing. He's won $1,000 running super speedway races before, so knows exactly what he's doing at these types of racetracks, and he's doing a very good job maintaining second right there. So it looks like Corey Lyles tagged the wall a little bit into turn 1. Thurston going for a move on the inside of Josh Lilly now through turn number 2 and down the back straightaway.
We saw Thurston there hit that bump coming into turn 1. If you take that low entry into turn 1, there's a massive bump there, and he managed to take it and be okay. But I get to the end of the race, I expect that's probably going to cause an issue to somebody.
Alex, I haven't really seen yet anybody, like we talked about, try to take that inside line. I just still think people are too scared to go down there and help him. I believe, like you said, that inside line will work if you get a little bit of help, but you need the help.
Oh, definitely. In practice sessions, we were able to run 2x2 solidly for laps on end, so the inside line, it definitely works as well. That's something I also love about this track. Going into turn 1, if you enter on the bottom, you are going to do a wheelie. That is exactly what Chase Schaefer just did. Did a complete wheelie entering turn number 1, and it's really cool to see how drivers have to manage that, but with the moves on the bottom, it's definitely possible if you get help and you get people down there that know what they're doing. But people, like you mentioned, Adam, they're just too nervous to go down there. Even with coming to 15 laps to go in this race, they're just too nervous to make a move down there in fear of wrecking their car. We only have one faster pair, so drivers want to savor that. Oh, River Page up on the wall, and it looks like Thurston's going to hold on to it. Corey Lyle's going to take advantage of it. Get to the inside of Chase Schaefer now. It looks like not going to clear him just yet as they head back into turn number 1. Cooper Nash on the inside. No! It happened, Zach Todriff! He hit the guardrail! It happened twice in the All-Star Open. We knew it was going to happen in this race. The only question was when, and Zach Todriff just gave us that when as he slammed that guardrail going into turn number 1.
And it looked like he was baited out there just a little bit. The 99 car of Schaefer running really close to that, and he was running just a little bit higher and probably didn't have a chance to even see it before he hit it with the front end of his car and goes flying, and it looks like a couple other cars collected there in the mayhem that followed. The 87 there, and I believe that was the 025 of Michael Cormetis also involved.
Yeah, so it looks like involved in that wreck, it was Daniel Mosteller, Zach Todriff. I saw Sean Rowan there and Marcus Vanderlee, but I tell y'all what, we knew that was gonna happen. I mean, the Monza Oval, it was built to be a right turning oval in combination with the old like 50s Grand Prix layout of the original Monza circuit. So that's why you'll see gaps like that on this track, just really horrible gaps to hit where you can go flying just like that. It's because it was meant to be a right turning oval. And I tell y'all what, that happened twice in the All-Star Open. If my memory serves me correctly, it happened with a driver who didn't advance, Michael Deitch. And then I can't say, oh, it was on the last lap going into turn number 1, another driver that unfortunately did not advance, Will Shack, ended up clobbering that guardrail. Oh, it looks like Daniel's having a little bit of fun under yellow, but it's a very easy mistake to make, obviously, because you can get baited into it very, very easily. Just what happened to several drivers in the open race that ended up hitting that guardrail. It's just they were following somebody down the straight. They moved up high towards that guardrail, then moved back down low to make the corner, and the person behind just nowhere to go, could not see it coming, and ended up slamming into that guardrail. That's exactly what happened to Zach Todriff. It's really unfortunate that that happens to some of these drivers, but in the end, it's just another day of racing at this track, and it's one of the reasons why you don't see this track in use anymore.
We see a lot of cars coming into the pit lane. Baldaris is staying out there, as well as Moriarty and Lilly, and of course Schaefer, and I believe Page also. Those two both pit the last time through, so they should be good to go. Everybody else, though, coming into the pits, Baldaris's tires must be getting pretty old. He's getting a lot of caution laps to manage the temperatures on them to help out. But you gotta be wondering, when is that rear end going to start stepping out on him?
Yeah, and one thing that I want to note with Throttle having stayed out this long, I'm sorry, y'all are going to have to get used to me calling Balderas Throttle. That's what I've been used to for about a year of knowing this man, so get used to it. The 95 car, when I refer to him as Throttle. So, one thing just with him staying out this long is just track position. Normally, you don't really hear of super speedway racing where track position really matters. In most cars, you can get easy runs by yourself and go 3-wide through the middle, get some help on the top, and go straight to the front of the field. But on a track like this, with how narrow it is and with how tight it is, track position really, really matters. So I feel like that's Throttle's game plan here, is just to try and maintain track position and hopefully just be there at the end. He might be also adopting Dale Earnhardt's strategy, the old driver of the number 3 car. He might be adopting his strategy if he can't get wrecked on super speedway races if you're up in the front, and so far it seemed to work out pretty well for him.
Another thing you don't see on super speedways is progressive banking. So the progressive banking here, making it a little bit like Bristol, which is a much shorter track, only half a mile. But you'll notice that if you watch races on Bristol, it's very hard to pass there because the outside line gets so much momentum. The inside line can get a run on entry, but by the time the turn finishes, that outside line is able to get to the throttle earlier. Of course, they're staying full throttle here, but they have much more momentum on that high line. So it's added a very interesting wrinkle to a super speedway race to have progressive banking.
Yeah, and it's made the high line the dominant lane all night long. Looks like I believe we're going to be receiving the 1 to green signal here. Going to be restarting with about 11 laps left. I mean, we got on a pretty decent, maybe 6 or 7 lap run last time. So if these drivers just mind their business, there's no doubt in my mind that they could probably make it to the end of this race. So I'm hoping that's what they're able to do. But with the nature of this track, you never know. As it looks like Conklin very sketchily getting another one of his laps back there. And that's another rule that I probably should have mentioned for you guys, is that in this league, Probably sounds a little stupid, but we want everybody to have a fair shot if they get wrecked out in something that wasn't their fault. Conk almost just dies there, wow. But you can get as many laps back as you want under yellow, and we clear the black flags, but you can't get laps back with one until the green flag. So it looks like they're pretty much giving drivers a nice bit of leeway with that open apron right there. I think if Mosteller's on the lead lap, so you won't have to take advantage of it. But for some of those drivers that are on the lead lap, we like to give them a little bit of a shot to try and get back up there. So that's why we let them just completely bypass the entire field, get some of those laps back. And looks like Balderas, again, he's elected to take the top. It's been working for him so far. He's going to have help from River Page, who is another pretty good driver in this field. So I think if he can just hold on to this, he'll probably have a shot here at the end. He just needs to make sure that 95 car doesn't get turned from the lead. I assume he'll probably still have his faster pair as well, so he's pretty much set for the end of this race. Just needs pretty much this whole race. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're...
I got to cut you off, Alex. We're about to go green again, man. We have a few questions here from the YouTube chat. Number one, Chuckley asking if there are GWCs and how many there are, and Ray Lombardi saying, this is only the 6th caution. I don't know if he was being sarcastic or not.
I don't think he was being sarcastic on that one, I'm not going to lie. But we do have 3 green-white checkers for these drivers to use. So after that 3rd one, we will not throw a yellow on the second to last lap. So up until that, we will use them if there is a big enough wreck that calls for it. But the iRacing safety truck once again in the safety of the pit lane. We'll see if Balderas can get that number 95 car out front once more as Page right on his back bumper here. As it's a long wait to the green flag at this track. You have to hang on there for a while. It looks like the green flag's back out. We're racing once again. River gives Throttle a nice shove there down into turn number 1. Mason still fighting back on the inside now as there'll be side by side through 1 and 2. Josh Lilly a little bit unsettled on the inside behind Moriarty there. That's going to give Throttle the speed to take the lead down the back straightaway.
So Throttle did not get a very good jump on the start, and Page was able to come up and hit that bumper and get him going, which allowed him to keep that position over Moriarty. I think Moriarty would have had that race by the end of turn 1 and going through turn 2 if not for that. And now we're going to see Moriarty try to find a hole and move his way up into that top line. Doesn't look like he's going to get much help. There's only 2 cars behind him and neither of them very close to his rear bumper, so he's just kind of out to dry here on the inside.
Yeah, and another thing about that number 6 machine that I want to mention to you guys is being the Super Speedway King, it means you are willing to make moves, and that is something that Mason Moriarty is definitely very avid about. He gets really frustrated if nobody's starting to help him. Massive wheelie from all those cars, and that's going to send the 55 around. He'll take a bunch of cars with him. Massive wreck towards the rear of the field. The 55 Cooper Nash is around. It looks like everybody else that was in that, looks like they got their cars turned the right way, but that's going to be quite a bit of damage for some of these drivers. Chase Schaefer with some damage on both sides of that car. Looks like it's crab walking a little. Probably have to take a faster pair. Daniel Mosteller, I think, should be okay, but another wreck, and it was once again going into turn number 1.
And it looked like maybe he had a little bit of help from behind that got him a little bit loose. It was hard. We didn't get a really good, clear look at it in the replay. When the replay started, he was already going around. Put a big bunch of opposite lock in it to try to catch it and just brought it back up in front of everybody else. The rest of the cars did a really good job here. We saw the 87 there, and I think that was at the 14 possibly. There on the inside, the 19, sorry, on the inside. Both those cars just in 4-wheel drifts trying to catch, and they both managed to get those cars in the right direction without hitting the wall. Really, it looked like the 55 was the only one that got any really super heavy damage out of that. We saw one other car crab walking and should have time to come in and get some repairs.
Yeah, that was Chase Schaefer that was crab walking. You could see he was sliding up against the outside wall, and that likely led him to quite a bit of right front damage and probably having to replace that tire using that faster pair. So not something you want to do late in this race, but still it's going to open the door for a lot of these drivers that still need to get laps back to get back on the lead lap. You see Conklin, the 54, still going around. He's only 5 laps down now, and I reckon before we go back green, he'll probably get to 3 or even 2 laps down. So probably only 1 more yellow after this for Conklin, and he'll be back on the lead lap.
Chase Schaefer falling victim to his strategy call, getting back into the traffic. Probably ended up on that inside lane on the restart and got shuffled back a bit and then got caught up in that wreck. He has heavy heavy front end damage there on the right side. Look like the tire is completely off the hub. Is just dragging there as a passenger. She should have his fast repair left. He's been out of trouble the whole day, so expect to see him back out there. But he's going to have a lot of work to do and not much time to do it.
Yeah. Hopefully he will have his fast repairs. It looks like River taking tires just then. Throttle still maintains a clean race car up at the front. This 95 has pretty much just been sitting pretty the whole entire race, so he's been doing a great job up the lead of this field, and so far the top 4, the only cars that stayed out is going to be Alexander Balderas, James Thurston, Josh Lilly, and Sean Rowe. Everybody else ended up coming into the pits for, I presume, tires, and it looks like, yeah, Chase did have to use his fast repair there to fix that right front tire. And now, pretty much at this point, if you're in the 99 situation, you just got to be careful with what moves you make and just be wary of wrecks, because I reckon that is not the last one we are going to see tonight.
It's going to be a delicate balance of patience and bravery, because there are only 8 laps to go, and yes, there could be green-white checkers, but there could not be too. You may not have very much time to make those moves, so you're going to have to be a little gutsy, opportunistic, but you're going to have to keep your eye on your competitors and try not to find yourself in a sticky situation where you end up with damage on the car again.
Yeah, and it looks like we should be restarting with 5 laps to go in this race, and that is not a lot of time for some of these drivers who want to get back up to the front to make moves. And I know I mentioned this during that green flag run, but Mason Moriarty has got to be the most avid driver on making moves in a single file pack like this. And you can see him, he always tries to get to the inside of the rest of the field, but just nothing able to work for him. He just can't get the help he needs to make a charge up to the front, and just really, I mean, just unfortunate for him, is he's a really fast driver, knows exactly what he's doing in these types of races, and just he can't seem to get any forward momentum. And it looks like we now have a little nickname for Throttle up there. You can see now Alexander Throttle Balderas. So now it looks like YouTube chat can't be confused on the replay whenever I refer to the 95 car's Throttle, so that's pretty cool. As we take 1 to green at the line, I still have my money on this number 95 car. He's been sitting pretty up in the lead ever since pretty much the halfway point of this race. Nobody able to dethrone him so far. So I'm still putting my money on this number 95 car, but if I had to choose somebody other than him, I'd say I have to go with the super speedway king of this series, the number 6 car, Mason Moriarty.
I think if we're going to have any restart where the bottom line develops, it's going to be this one. Now Mason is starting up 3rd row of the top line. But if an opportunity presents itself for him to dip down to that bottom line and help out somebody, I think we'll see our first real good attempt at a bottom line to develop. He won't be afraid to get up there and lean on the bumper of the car in front of him. He definitely knows what he's doing. So if there's a gap that forms and he has a chance to drop down, I'd keep an eye on that 6 car.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing with, I mean, starting on the top line of this racetrack, it honestly really isn't so bad, because usually, I mean, the preferred lane for restarts, and actually it looks like Conklin going to get 1 lap down now, and as they come to take the green flag this time by. But one thing about starting on the top is, unlike normal plate tracks, because this isn't a normal plate track by any means, so we're starting on the top here with the progressive banking. Once these cars get up to speed, specifically coming out of turn 2 and going into turn 3, the drivers on the outside are just going to blow by the drivers on the inside, especially on a restart where these cars aren't all that formed up. So I would definitely be expecting the drivers on the top to get out in front of the cars on the inside. That's pretty much been the story all race. It's just been who can get to the top lane the fastest, and pretty much the perfect drivers in that position are going to be Throttle, who's leading the field, and it's going to be Josh Lilly starting P4 on the outside, and Mason Moriarty starting P6 on the outside. So those drivers starting on the outside have a really good shot. And actually, no, excuse me, it's Sean Rowe starting on the outside, not Josh Lilly. So apologies for that. But pretty much the top line is where you want to be on these restarts.
There's no doubt that the top line is the best line, and if the bottom line is going to work, as we see,
yeah, he's going through the pits.
If we see somebody flying through to get that 1 lap back, he's going to have quite a big lead on them. So he shouldn't fall victim to being on the lap down. The start, Sean Rowe does not get a good start. That's going to leave Throttle out there kind of on his own. The 99, was that the 99? No, sorry. Thurston manages to get the bottom line to work, and it has a nose ahead. Can he keep it there? The 48 car kind of dipped up there to the high line and then get back to the bottom side. We're not really seeing too much develop here, but they are still side by side coming out of turn 2.
Yep, Throttle's going to have some help down this back straightaway as Corey Lyles giving him a nice shove down here. He'll get clear. James Thurston as everybody starting to get back up to the top side. Single file throughout this main pack now. It's just going to be logging laps for the remaining 5 laps of this race. And as they come out of turn 4 and start to head down the back straightaway, Randall, I'm not sure how experienced you are with being on plate racing ovals in this situation, but as Corey Lyles, it looks like, going to try move to the outside, when would be your optimal time to make a move? And Throttle's going to turn him. Throttle turns Lyles, heading into turn number 1. I don't think that'll be a yellow because it was just one car, but it looks like, I'm not sure, I think Lyles had to turn back down to make the corner and Throttle was there, and that's going to give Thurston the lead of this race as they head down the back straightaway, and it looks like just a failed attempt at a move. They tried to get to his outside down the back straightaway, and Lyles just couldn't do anything there. He had to try and make the corner, but the 95 was on his inside. It looked like a racing field to me, but I know my boy Throttle usually gets the short end of the stick, so he's probably getting yelled at in the voice chat right now, but I honestly don't think that was all him. I feel like even though Lyles had to make the corner, he definitely came down the track a lot and turned himself across his nose, but side by side into turn number 1 for second.
Right now, it looks like Thurston has inherited this lead, and he's doing a good job at covering both lines on the entry. You've seen him at turn entry, starts very high, uses the banking to go down to the bottom. As there we go, the 48. And is that the 6? Moriarty is going to be collected in that, and that is going to bring out a caution. And the 55, well. Sean Conklin. Is that Sean Conklin? No, that's Nash. Cooper Nash, doing his best Sean Conklin impersonation, is just collected as an innocent bystander.
And we are going to use a green-white checkered now as that yellow came out as they were heading to 3 laps to go. So this is going to be a green-white checkered finish. Honestly, with the way this race has been, I am not shocked at all. But back under yellow for the 8th time tonight. And now what we just have to see is just who's going to be in the best spot at the best time. That's what this race is going to come down to.
Now, I know that the watching, you don't get to see the I ratings of these drivers, but I have an additional screen pulled up that is showing me those. James Thurston has 4.5K oval I rating, and I believe he's the third highest rating in this race, and he's managed to find himself at the front magically. We haven't talked about him very much, but here we are at the end of the race, and he's leading.
Yeah, James Thurston on super speedways is normally more of a quiet driver. Usually just buys his time in the back of the field and charges to the front late in the race, and it looks like another textbook plate track race for him. But the only thing is, when they restart with 2 laps to go, how are they all going to react to being in this situation? Because yeah, we've had yellow after yellow pretty much, it seemed, but with only 2 laps to go, I feel like these drivers are going to be a lot more aggressive on this restart as normal. And I feel like as long as they can get out of turn 4, they will end up making it to the white flag. But wow, that was very close for Sean Conklin. Almost took Braxton's door off there.
We have a few people here in the YouTube chat here that I want to get to. Ray Lombardi said that was a very nice entry into Parabolica. Ray obviously running in the Spec 5 World Tour here in about 30-ish, 40 minutes that we will be covering here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. That was talking about your wreck with Throttle there, Alex, earlier. And then we have Chuckley here saying that he's going to have to order a few more chairs for the group therapy session.
Yeah, I feel like just with my league being my league, it's just going to end up being a war after the race is over, no matter who wins. So I feel like that's just going to be the main thing to look out for, is the war in the Discord. I mean, it's pretty entertaining myself, having not been involved in it. But actually, one thing to mention, Sean Conklin, after being 8 laps down, is now back on the lead lap, as it looks like they shortened that yellow. So we are going to go 1 to green this time. There's my destroyed car here. Let's give y'all a live update. I only have 7 minutes of damage remaining. I could actually go out on track right now if I wanted to. although I'm down about 240 or 230 RPM, so I would be very slow, but I could finish this race from the car. There's no point. I'm gonna maintain my position up here in the booth. I think it's more fun anyway. But 1 to green at the line. This is going to be the first of, or it looks like I don't think we're going to be using a green-white checker because actually, no, I'm honestly
It is a
not
green
sure.
white checker.
Yeah, it is. Okay,
It is
so
green white checker. Yeah.
yeah, but I was wondering if it was going to be a natural green-white checkered or we had to use one of our actual green-white checkers, but it looks like we have to use one of the actual ones. But coming out of coming through turn 4 now, Randall, with only 2 to go in this race. If they get back to the white flag, who's your pick to win?
Oh, that's a really tough call. Valderas is sitting in a good position in P3, but he's on the wrong line, and we see
Gronk just dive bombed it in there.
Conklin elbowing his way back up there. He's got money to win. He's ready. He's back into this. I'm putting it on the 54. We're gonna see a Cinderella here.
Conklin from being 8 laps down to maybe winning this race. We'll have to see in 2 laps time. The green flag is out, hopefully for the final time from Monza. It's a great restart for Thurston on the outside. It looks like he'll get clear of Sean Rowe as they head into turn number 1, and now getting a nice push from River Page, and it looks like Sean, that just entire bottom line is just stuck there right now. They can't get any real ground going for them. It's gonna all we're going to have to see what happens down the back straightaways. Everybody starts to go back to the outside line. Some drivers still trying to stick it out on the bottom. Throttle trying to force his nose up top. He'll get in there. Sean Rowe will as well. Braxton Whitaker now the only car on the inside line as River Page going to push Thurston to the lead in turn 3.
Look out for that 99 car. He's finally made his way back up to the front. He dominated the first half of this race. Now let's see if he has a move here as they're coming to the white flag. Oh, it's gonna get hairy coming to the turn 1 now. We're gonna see all sorts of moves.
All right, the white flag is out. This race is official. And Randall, there's your pick, Sean Conklin up there. He's currently running P4s. Mason Moriarty stuck on the bottom with no help. Trying to get around Chase Schaefer. Thurston still leads. River Page leads Chase Schaefer. Is Conklin going to give him a push? Mason Moriarty stuck on the inside. Nothing he can do there. We have to see what moves drivers start to do down this back straightaway. River looks like not going to poke his nose out. There goes Sean Conklin to the inside. He's going to try and get something done into turn number 3 as River Page still just pushing James Thurston around turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Will it be Thurston? Will it be Page? Will it be Schaefer? It looks like Throttle's around a little bit further behind them out of turn number 4. Let's see what they can do here. River's going to get to the outside, down the front straightaway, side by side. River Page is going to win at Monza. And a big wreck as they head through the corner. Thurston gonna kill the car with a backwards entry into Parabolica. River Page wins the International Online Racing Association All-Star Race from the Monza Oval. What a finish.
Thurston went to block that inside line, and I think he inadvertently gave River Page the best slingshot ever. And it just shot River Page right up that front straightaway. We saw River Page move the car to the left and take a little bit of air off of that quarter panel and get a little bit of side draft. And that drag race ended up coming his way. $50 is going to River Page.
Yeah, and with a daring move out of the final corner, he gets P1 and he gets $50 to go along with it. James Thurston is there in second place. Chase Schaefer there in third. Sean Rowe in fourth. Daniel Mosteller in fifth. Sean Conklin in sixth. Braxton Whitaker in seventh. Adam, I see, made a little bit of an oopsie. Mason Moriarty there in eighth. Corey Lyles in ninth. Alexander Balderas in 10th. Josh Lilly in 11th. Cooper Nash in 12th. Zach Tondriff in 13th. Marcus Vanderlee in 14th. And you know what? I didn't finish last. That's a success in my books. I finished 15th. Michael Korometis in 16th and Clark Nance in 17th. And as I get these drivers into the Slow Motion Broadcasting Discord server for interviews, just Randall, what a race. I mean, I know it was caution-filled from the very start, but what a race from the Monza Oval.
Absolutely. It delivered some of those gotchas from it being designed as a right turning oval. It really played some chaos on these drivers. We saw a lot of drivers getting out into the grass. We saw one driver get to that guardrail on the outside. We knew it was going to come eventually, and a surprise victory for River Page. I would have never guessed that the second car in line there would have actually had that kind of a run, but Thurston throwing that block just set him up perfectly.
Yeah, River got that good momentum out of turn number 4, and he was able to get that car wound up. Got a nice push from Chase Schaefer out of turn 4. So, as it looks like we have one driver who has trickled into the interview waiting room, I'll drag him in. It's our third place winner, Chase Schaefer. Chase, I know I was racing with you guys about half an hour ago, but I have decided to commentate my own league, and it looks like that race went pretty well for you there at the end.
Oh yeah, that was a fun race. I definitely wasn't planning on the end to be like that. I was hoping to have a little bit better of a timed run at the end, but unfortunately it didn't happen. But I was so glad to have a clean finish there at the end, 3 wide for it. But yeah, I definitely didn't. I got way too close to River on the in turn 4, way too early. I probably could have waited a little bit longer, but it was just weird. I think they slowed up just a little bit, so it kind of ruined things, and I didn't really want to ruin my momentum. So I gave them that little bump, come out of 4 after Sean hit me, and that got him to the lead. And I also just didn't even try side drafting Thurston. I don't know what I was doing there, but yeah, it was definitely a fun end of the race.
Well, overall, before I died and bid farewell, after that, it looked like just same old. Drivers would form up on the top, and all that energy would just cause a wreck right there. And it looked like you were involved in one of them there, broke your right front tire. How were you able to claw yourself back to the front after that wreck?
Oh yeah, I forgot what happened there. Oh yeah, I think someone wrecked
Cooper
in
Nash,
the
yeah,
yeah. Cooper Nash turned
spun.
Cooper Nash turned Josh Lilly, and so I was just in an unfortunate spot, and I knew when that happened I wasn't gonna be able to do anything, so I was just had to live with it. That's all right. But yeah, other than that, just getting through the field, trying to not get involved with anything. On that start, I had that problem happen where you go to shift and it just puts it in neutral,
Yep.
and so that kind of ruined that. But it helped me because then it looked like where I would have been where May May and them got hit by Josh. I think it was Josh Lee caused that. I don't know, but yeah, I mean everything worked out in the end. It was a fun race, and I'm glad that I got to have a run for it.
Yeah, and before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank, give a shout out to?
Follow Monster Designs at Monster Designs
Nah,
underscore
shameless plug. Shameless plug.
at Monster Designs underscore on Twitter, at underscore Monster Designs underscore on Instagram, and that's all I got. Fun race. Thank you guys for the broadcast.
All right, well, we appreciate you racing. Congrats on the podium. Hopefully, I know it'll be a different broadcast then, but hopefully we'll see you maybe in P1 from Okayama next week.
Thank you.
And that was Chase Schaefer, the second place finisher tonight. Randall, I believe you are standby with our with our second place finisher, James Thurston.
James, it looked like you were sitting there pretty for the end of the race, and then you threw a block, and suddenly you're in a three-way drag race. Tell us about the end there.
Yeah, I probably should have blocked there, but I didn't. I didn't want to end up causing a big wreck, and I have respect for River, so I wasn't gonna do anything too dirty. I mean, it is what it is. It was a decent race overall, so yeah, just happy to come home with a P2, even though P2 doesn't really get much here.
So it seemed like you kind of materialized out of nowhere, and suddenly we're in the lead there at the end of the race. Were you playing the patient game the whole race? Were you expecting to be where you were at the end, or did it just kind of fall your way?
Yeah, that's why I was playing it. I didn't get in any of the ranks, just pit every time I could, make sure I had those fresh grippy tires, and just wanted to be there at the end, which I certainly was. And all I
I
really
was
had to do,
not.
all I had to really do after that was just throw a good block into. I mean, honestly, I didn't know where the start line was. I wasn't sure if he would even get by me by the time we got there, but I thought it was one of the earlier start lines.
So there was a lot of developments there on the inside that nothing really seemed to get going. Were you able to get anything done on the inside throughout the race?
Not a lot. It's really a top lane track because the inside is super bumpy. It has doesn't have as much banking, and these cars don't have a lot of downforce, so that combination doesn't mix well. So yeah, just stay on the top is really the only thing you could do.
Well, I don't know if this will make you feel any better, but if that start finish line was about 25 feet closer to turn 4, you would have had that win. You lost by 28 hundredths or 28 thousandths of a second. So it was a very, very close finish there, right to the line.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, P2 for you, but still a great race. Anybody you'd like to thank or shout out for it?
Well, I'm not actually sponsored by Castrol, but just thanks to them for having cool colors so that I could make a paint scheme.
Well,
Yeah,
I
that
think it was David Lee Roth that said it doesn't matter how good you are, it's how good you look doing it. So that does go
exactly.
a long way.
Yep.
I mean,
Well,
I died, and I think I certainly look good doing it. So yeah, Thurston. I don't know if you saw it, but when I died the second time, like I was, you know how in turn 4, like you normally smack the guardrail if you got a car to your inside going through there.
hmm
Well, I smacked the guardrail and I was gonna just get it off the corner and just go down the front straightaway as normal, but I ever so slightly clipped that green barrier, and my car didn't like that. Right front broke, lock steering to the left, killed Conk, and absolutely destroyed my car. Ended up having 41 minutes repairs. So I think you did a little bit better than that, my friend.
Yeah, I think I actually had 0 incident points at race. So
How?
I don't know, just staying out of everything, I guess.
Well, that's impressive.
Well, we thank you for the very, very entertaining show and great finish there. And congratulations on second place. And
Yeah.
hopefully we'll see this league back on a broadcast sometime again and get you up here in the winner circle.
Yeah, thanks for broadcasting, and yeah, if you come back, hopefully we'll have a great race to put on for you guys.
That was your P2 finisher, James Thurston and Alex. I think you have our winner, River Page.
I sure do. River, you were pretty much just vibing mid-pack the entire race, and all of a sudden, final lap, you find yourself making a move for the win. How does it feel, my friend?
It feels good. It's just after doing that last All-Star race and getting screwed out of $50 by someone else in this race, it feels good. I didn't think I would be up there, honestly. I assumed I would either get wrecked or just mess up like I had done 20 times in the race, but I just got right to Thurston's bumper, and then Schaffer gave me a hell of a push on coming off of 4, and I just side drafted. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. When I was coming off of 4, I backed up, and I backed up too late. I wasn't gonna win if Chase wasn't there, but he pushed me, and I got to Thurston's outside, and just was able to side draft around him.
And overall, it's a pretty chaotic race. I know before I absolutely freaking died, and it seemed like it definitely carried over to the rest of the race. How did you just avoid the carnage and find yourself up front at the end?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was in the back most of the time, just kind of riding around, and then either the wreck happened. I think all the wrecks happened behind me. They were either in the back, or the couple of times that I was in the front, they were in the middle of the field. But in the beginning of the race, I was in the back because I wrecked on lap 5 on a restart. So I was just kind of hanging out and waiting for the inevitable carnage to happen, and then just kind of got around it.
Yeah, and overall, it's a very solid race for you. You get a $50 prize pool with your win there. And anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I mean, thank Chase again. He just gave me a great push, and that just kind of gave me a shot at getting to Thurston's outside. So yeah, thanks to Chase, and thanks to you guys for hosting this.
All right, well, congrats on the win, my friend. Enjoy those $50, and hopefully you'll be on the top step of the podium once more next week from Okayama.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
That was River Page, your winner tonight from the Monza Oval. But Randall, just what a it was an interesting race to say the least. But overall, I had a pretty good time with it. What's your take?
I'm taken a little bit aback there by River Page. I did not expect somebody so young. Um, we've seen a wave of very young drivers that show maturity beyond their years and the ability to wheel a car and bring home victories.
Yeah,
It's
so
amazing.
I'll give you a little bit of insider information. I want to say River is 15, and the funny thing about it is, people that have joined a VC with him and have never met him before honest to God, some people mistake him for a girl. And River, that is no offense to you, my friend, but personally, I just think it's funny. People, honest to God, mistake you for a girl, and I find it entertaining. But great job on the win. And as we round out this stream, we'll see you in about 20 minutes from Monza once more, and we're going to be using a bit of the oval, and this time it's going to be not big, heavy stock cars shooting around this long racetrack. It's going to be the Spec 5 World Tour with their Mazda MX-5 Cup cars from the Monza combined circuit. I believe they are using the chicanes as well, so that's going to be very interesting. You'll see us in about 20 minutes for that. And this Sunday, January 29th at 8:10 p.m. EST, the Cross Series League Racing Championship returns with the Radical SR8s once more from the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval. Going to be an interesting one there. And then Tuesday, January 31st at 9:10 p.m. EST, the American Muscle Series returns for their second race of the season with their Ford Mustang FR500s from Donington Park. Going to be an interesting show there. But for now, unless either of you decide to interrupt me, I believe that is all we have for you tonight. I hope that sigh was caught on the broadcast. That's a measure of my disappointment right now. But anyways, I killed my own car, so I decided to broadcast my own lead. Randall, thanks for being here. Adam, thanks for being here. I appreciate y'all jumping in to do this race on such short notice. But my name is Alex Anderson. I've been joined in the commentary booth by Randall McGrew with Adam Thompson in our virtual production truck. And from the Monza Oval, we'll see you in about 20 minutes.
Clear. Alex, $50. Oh, crap.
Not. So Patrick, do we describe this for everybody, Rob?
What?
You describe it. You describe it. I
What?
do enough talking.
I think any car's dead in iRacing. I think it's gone.
Oh, it's definitely. I agree. It's not going to survive much. But I still think we'll find opportunities to race it, just not as fruitful as before. Some of them just want to make. What's the thing? Like that guy wanted to make like dolls out of Tyler's hair, but then there's just other guys who are just like. He did. He would say weird things to Tyler, man. Like he was a strange guy. And then like other guys would just show up and he's like, "Oh, we never met you? Sure, come race this 24 with us." And then just jump in the car and wreck us out in a lap and be like, "Okay, never see you again."
Yeah, that
like,
was
okay. Well, better luck next year, I guess.
That was the guy from.
you.